Hello, friends. Welcome back, or if you are new here, welcome. It is finally Thanksgiving week, and in our family, Thanksgiving week kind of kicks off a extremely busy season for us. We start off the week with an annual baking event that we host at a family member's house. A bunch of people go. We spend the entire day baking baked goods and prepping for the upcoming week. We have a lot of family that comes in to stay from out of town, so we kind of just use the day to prep. A lot of people have actually already started arriving, and they usually will spend this day with us as well every year. On top of all the baking, we usually have a huge meal, kind of like a potluck, that we have at the same time. So this year we chose to do some soups and sandwiches. We're just keeping it very easy while everybody's baking. You can kind of just go in, grab some lunch, or a lot of times we stay all day, so it will also be dinner. I have some cleaning to get done around the house because we are also expecting guests this week. But before that, I'm going to start on getting some soup in the crock pot going for our baking day. This year, I am making a chicken and gnocchi soup. So I'm getting the vegetables going, and then I'm going to quickly get it in the crock pot and get to cleaning before we head out for the day. Like most of my recipes, I will have this one in the description box below. But you start off by sauteing some bacon. I believe I did like 6 or 7 slices of bacon. I just chopped them up and throw them in the pan. They're cooking while I am dicing up carrots, celery, and onion. And then I will throw those into the pan with the bacon. Once I get those sauteed and they're just slightly tender, then I will throw in a huge heaping mound of spinach. I think I do about 4 cups. Honestly, it wilts down and you can't even tell it's that much, but I try to add in as much spinach as I possibly can anytime I make it, just so my kids have those extra vitamins. I put the bacon in the crock pot and I'm putting chicken thighs in here. I believe I did 4 chicken thighs. You really don't need very much, but you can use breasts as well, but I chose to do thighs just because I knew it would be cooking quite a while and I didn't want it to dry out at all. Put the bacon in the crock pot and then I added in 4 chicken thighs You can also use breasts, but I knew that we would be cooking this quite a while and I didn't want them to get too dried out. So I used some thighs, and then you'll add in the vegetables. I did Italian seasoning, garlic powder, salt, pepper, and then it is, I believe, 5 cups of chicken broth, 2 cans of evaporated milk, and then I added a couple tablespoons of cornstarch to some water, stirred it up real good, and then I will pour it in to thicken the soup. I let this cook on high because we were kind of in a hurry for 4 hours, and then I stirred it up and put in the gnocchi, and then I cook it on low for another hour. Usually the gnocchi is done by that point, but if it's not, you can continue to cook it, but usually about an hour is all it needs. You can also do dumplings, and you can also do like egg noodles or really anything you want, but you will add it all at the 1 hour mark before it's done. I am tackling some laundry that for whatever reason was put on our dining room table. The boys are getting dressed, getting showered. Theo here is eating some breakfast, and my boys always love to keep the cereal boxes. So this is an empty cereal box because they love doing the activities on the back. So while they eat breakfast, they usually will have an empty cereal box where they're doing the word searches, or I believe this one he had to find chocolate bars or something. So that's what they were doing here while I was putting all the clothes away and getting the house kind of put back together before we leave. I love the look of having a large rug underneath the dining room table, but it's not very practical because you get so many crumbs and just stuff. Our kids, they do school here, so they'll drop craft supplies, and just it seems like all kinds of crumbs and stains, everything you can imagine ends up on this rug. And it is white, but this is an indoor-outdoor rug. So I made the mistake too many times of getting just a normal indoor rug under our dining room table. And I want to say like 2 years ago, I went ahead and I just did an indoor-outdoor rug. And that is the best decision in my opinion, because you can actually just take everything off the rug and bring it right outside and power wash it and then let it dry. And then it's as good as new. So I do that a couple times a year, and I don't actually have to do that this time, but it does need a really good vacuum. So I went ahead and I moved all the chairs and the bench away from the table, and I'm giving it a really good vacuum before I put them all back. We have 2 cats and 2 dogs, and our dogs are Australian Shepherds, so they shed like crazy. It doesn't seem, I used to think that it was, during certain times of year, but it just seems like it's always now. So they're always shedding, and it seems like I always have to vacuum. So I'm just doing a quick vacuum all around the house to make sure I can kind of maintain it for the rest of the week while we have guests in and out of the house. I also like to start off holiday weeks by doing a good wipe down on surfaces that maybe I haven't gotten to for a while. Just giving everything a really good dusting, and that way it stays fresh and seems fresher when you have guests over. I'm not sure if I've talked about this before on my channel, but I am really strict about making my bed. I'm not as strict with the kids about it. I do go in there sometimes and help them make their beds, but it is not an always thing. Usually I will just kind of tidy it every morning, or I'll ask them to do that. But I am really strict about my bed because for, I believe it was like 7 or 8 years when my husband and I were first married, he always worked nights. And so it seemed like I could never make the bed because he was always sleeping in it during the day. And for whatever reason, that bothered me. And I'm one of those people where I feel like the day just feels more put together. The house feels more put together when your bed is made. So I usually start every morning off by making my bed. And I think it's because for the longest time, I could not actually make our bed every day. It usually, for the first 7, 8 years of our marriage, it was never made. So I really always do that now. When I was dusting this area, I noticed that there were a bunch of cobwebs and just dust on these curtain rods. So I went ahead and cleaned all those off. My husband brought our fall tote back upstairs, and we have leftover stuff that, please tell me I am not alone in this, but I always, it doesn't matter what season, but I will put away all of my seasonal stuff and then put out the new stuff. And it never fails, but for like at least a week, I still find things around the house that I'm like, oh, I forgot to put that away. And so my husband actually ended up bringing up our fall tote because I had an entire tote's worth of things after we had all of our Christmas stuff put up that I had left out. I don't know how, and I even go around every single time and make like and check. And obviously, I don't know what I missed, but I do that every single season. It doesn't matter when it is, but I always forget stuff around the house. Am I the only one? Do other people do that? My living room is not heavily used. We do school sometimes on the couch. We'll do like some of our reading or our language arts here at the coffee table, but majority of the time, if my kids are not doing school, they're usually outside. My older two, they're teenagers, so they a lot of the times are spent on their phones with their friends. They're playing video games. They're kind of doing their own thing. They do like to walk to town or ride their bikes to town. We're about 2 miles from our downtown area, which does not say a lot because we're a very, very small town. But they like to go to like the dollar store. We have like a couple little grocery stores. There's a couple parks, stuff like that. That my older two, they like to either ride their bikes or walk to town and kind of do their own thing over there. But majority of the time, we are not in our living room. We hardly ever watch TV here. I will say though, around the holidays, we do spend a lot more time watching Christmas movies. So it has gotten a lot more use recently because my kids, I think, are watching Home Alone probably every single day at this point. Um, Luckily, Home Alone has like 5 movies now, so they've had plenty to watch, but any other time of year, our living room does not really get heavily used. We're not really TV watchers. And we always have music on our TV, and that's why when you see it on, it's usually on some type of music thing that I find on YouTube usually. But that's why our living room, it doesn't usually need a whole lot. I usually will just like fluff some pillows, put the couch cushions back in order. I wipe down our coffee table and vacuum, and that's really all it needs in our house. I know that every family is different, but ours does not get heavily used. I know a lot of my friends up north got a ton of snow this past week. We don't have snow, but our sky definitely looks like a winter sky this morning. It's kind of just dark and cloudy. I thought it was really pretty though. This is the view from our front window out of our kitchen. But we haven't gotten any snow, not even little flurries. And honestly, some days it still kind of peaks into the 70s, so we're not quite there. Um, yeah, I mean, it kind of stays warm here. Last year we did have snow already by this point, but I know the year before we had to turn our air conditioning on Christmas. We hosted Christmas that year, and it was 80 degrees. So, and sometimes we have, some snow, but we have not had it yet this year. And I keep watching all of my friends on social media, and they have all gotten so much snow already, but we have not yet. Have you guys gotten any snow yet? I would love to hear, if you have, where you're from and how much snow you have gotten. Up in Chicago, where we are originally from, they got a lot of snow. I want to say they have like close to a foot on the ground. It might have actually, it tends to snow a ton and then like melt the very next day. So it might be gone by now, but I had a ton of friends that day actually sending me videos of them in the snow walking around. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's 70 here. I have moved on to the kitchen. It always seems like it needs a really good wipe down. We are always in our kitchen. Our living room might not be heavily used, but our kitchen definitely is. I'm always in here baking and cooking. I try to do a lot of our meals from scratch. So when you do that, unfortunately, it means that you end up having to spend so much time in the kitchen, and a lot of it is cleaning up. So I am wiping everything down, putting everything where it belongs, and refilling our candy dish. We have a little wicker sleigh, I think it is, and I have peppermints in there, and the kids, they kind of come in and sneak them every now and then. So I noticed it was getting low and wanted to fill it up. I know there's all kinds of products for stovetops. However, what I have noticed works the absolute best is just plain old dish soap. So I have dish soap on the sponge and I am scrubbing away at everything. I also like to do some drops of like essential oils. Any citrus works really, really great to get off anything sticky. So that is usually what I use on my stove. And I don't know if you can peek Theo in the background. He's in the pantry sweeping. He is 5 years old if you are new here, and he is my shadow, but he always loves helping clean and cook. And so today I am cleaning around the house, and he is doing the same. He was picking up his room because he knows that he's going to have some little friends coming over to play, and he's very excited about that. So he wanted to get his room in order for his friends to come over, and he was, I don't know, he enjoys sweeping. That is like one thing I really don't like doing, but he never minds. Him and Lincoln both, they don't mind sweeping. So they were in their room tidying up and sweeping. I've had some people ask, so we do have a dishwasher, but since we've moved in, it I think was used when the previous owners got it, and it just has never fully worked right. There's times where it works just fine, and then there are times where it does not, and we definitely need a new one, but I've also been very familiar with just washing dishes by hand. Our previous house before this one, it did not have a dishwasher, and we lived in that house like 5 or 6, maybe 7 years actually. But it did not have a dishwasher, and so I am very used to just washing them by hand, and it doesn't bother me at all. It's almost therapeutic in a way. So I usually will just fill up the small sink with hot soapy water, and then I wash them all, and then I usually will then rinse them all in the other sink and air dry them. Sometimes I will even use our dishwasher to dry our dishes, but right now it's not working that great, so that's why I'm just washing them by hand. I have not really been using my essential oil diffusers for some time now. Not really for any particular reason. I just haven't really been using them. So today I did want to use them, and I'm putting, I think, just a normal, like, clean scent in both of them. I like to switch it up for the seasons and do lemon in summer and cinnamon in fall and winter. But today I'm just doing a clean scent, and I put that the same one in each of my diffusers. I was so excited to get out my steam mop today and steam mop the house. I have had this thing for 101 years, and I think it's like the original Shark steam mop. But as you can tell now, it did not work. So I don't know the last time I tried using it. Usually I just do my spin mop, but I wanted to really get the floors clean today, and I absolutely love my Shark steam mop, but it would turn on and it just made a noise, and you can tell it wasn't going to do anything. And I had wondered the last time I used it. Like I said, it is so old. So I just switched it over to the spin mop and cleaned the floors. But I am now in the market for a new steam mop. So if you have one of those that you suggest that you really, really love, I would love to hear what you have, because I have not, that is the first one I ever owned. And like I said, I mean, I owned it a really long time. So I have no idea what's even out there anymore. I have no idea. That is a totally different market for me. So please, if you have one that you love, suggest it down in the comments below. And if you have followed along this whole video and actually watched, have you noticed the cats following me? That is not an everyday thing. I thought it was kind of weird. It seemed like every time I turned around, there was at least one of the cats following me. I thought it was just the funniest thing. And then as I'm mopping, our little, she's not so little anymore, but she's still a kitten. We got her back in June. She was walking on the wet floor, and I walked in there after the floor had dried, and there's little cat prints all over the floor. So, and then there's the other one. It was just so funny that everywhere I went today, they were kind of following me. That's kind of out of the norm. But anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today and tidying up my house before Thanksgiving. I hope it gave you the motivation that you needed to get some things done around your house. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.